just go ahead and start this video out by saying that Ryan Clark is not a serious person, and neither is Nick Wright, who I will be talking about in this video as well.
Digest the election, and right afterwards, I put out a tweet saying that I respect President Trump as the president and his office. And there was a lot of pushback from my community on social. I voted for Kamala Harris, but
that little Twitter post that stems from a few weeks of bad feelings, which really, to tell you the truth, is really more like, I would say probably 10 to 15 years of bad feelings, because Ryan Clark has always had an issue with anybody who is on the more right side of politics. Don't let him fool you. His recent actions have been kind of a culmination of previous actions, which I will talk about. Now, guys, I did say at the very opening sequence of this video that I'd be talking about Nick Wright, too. Now, I want to go ahead and say this before we go further. I don't have anything to, how do I say, videos or whatnot to respond to, but I will be linking this video right here from Dreamerspro in the description box, and we'll talk briefly about that more towards the end, because Nick Wright is the person that they want to basically make the face of FS1, which, I don't know about you guys, but that face right there automatically screams, come watch FS1. I'm sorry, it's just the real truth. I've never really truly cared for Nick wrong. I mean, I'll also link the Dom 2K video on the MJ debate in the description box for you guys as well, if you guys want to watch it for pure entertainment reasons, because, yeah, there's a reason why it is so many people call him Nick wrong. Most of this video will be focused primarily on Ryan Clark, so make sure you guys stick around for the full piece. Now, before we get started, make sure you guys go ahead and cut the notifications on for the channel, so that way you guys are notified when the videos are released. Please go ahead and hit the like button for the algorithm, so that way the video will take off in the algorithm and we can maybe make this channel a little bit bigger. Please also, if you guys have any thoughts or concerns, please leave it in the comment section, and please share the video. You guys can also follow me on Facebook. Here's the page, and you guys can also follow me on X, Twitter. Here's the page as well. With that right there being said, let us go ahead and dive into this. So one of the very first videos that I did on this channel before I very stupidly started deleting videos on this channel, because like an idiot, I did not understand how YouTube really and truly worked, was a video about Ryan Clark's very, very bad take on the NFL going with their whole woke agenda. He was upset. He was saying stuff like, anytime that the NFL decides to honor veterans, that takes precedent over any other nonsensical social justice warrior causes out there. The video actually got roughly right around 6,500 views. Yes, I know that that's not exactly what we call viral, but still, it was the best performing video on this channel. There's a reason why that's the case. People, quite frankly, are sick and tired of Ryan Clark's BS. So why did he make the Twitter video that you guys are seeing here in the B-roll footage, where he basically says that he does not respect Donald Trump as a person? Which, by the way, I don't really care. It's really more the stupid direction he's going into, and it also tells me that as much as ESPN and FS1 and all these networks may want to try to get rid of the woke, they may still be around. I'll explain over the course of this video, but still, it doesn't really make any sense why he would do that, unless maybe he was going full-blown native in a certain direction. So how do we get here? Well, let's go to Whitlock for a second, because they were reacting and responding to Ryan Clark's take on Nick Bosa.
MAGA hat during Brock Purdy's interview, he knows exactly what he's doing. When you say make America great again, what was so great about it before? What part of America are you trying to get to, right? And there's a long following of Nick Bosa's tweets where it's a lot of pushback against the culture, which is weird, because in the locker room, it's such a melting pot of people where you accept one another's differences. I also think it's sort of ironic this happens in San Francisco, where Colin Kaepernick legitimately lost his career, not because he said America is a bad place, because he said, I want to make America a better place for people like us.
Okay, now, before I let that part finish off, and before I let the comments and the clapback occur, let me go ahead and briefly explain what happened with Nick Bosa. You guys are seeing in the B-roll footage, Nick Bosa, linebacker, defensive end for the San Francisco 49ers, is very much a Trump guy. He shows up on Sunday Night Football after the Niners win, wearing a Make America Great Again hat right before the election. The teammates, they don't seem to me like they're bummed about it at all. And of course, he would eventually go to the press conference and they would ask him about this. And of course, Nick Bosa would be like, I did what I did. By the way, he also did the Trump dance at a recent game after a certain play, a celebration. And of course, the fans and also the teammates, they seem to be okay with this. The NFL turned right back around and fined him. They fined him, but yet they would not fine Colin Kaepernick. I call him Kaepernick. You could call him Kaepernick, whatever you want to call him. The flag, obviously, the kneeling of the flag is going to come up during this video because, of course, Ryan Clark does not want to let that go. So a man who completely disrespects the United States, the most he gets is, well, you could argue that Colin Kaepernick's punishment was just the fact that nobody would sign him going forward. But this is also the same guy who also wore a pro-Castro shirt in Miami before a press conference. Super Cuban place, and you're going to wear a pro-Castro shirt. Idiots these people are. I think the NFL got its undue justice when it came. Got its due justice when it came to Kaepernick. He's no longer in the league. I think we've already had this conversation on several occasions. He did it to himself. He shouldn't have done it. He should have come about it a different way. All that type of stuff there. I don't think we need to relitigate that, even though obviously we're going to have to relitigate some of that during the course of this video because these people who don't want to let that go, they're beginning to show you exactly how stupid they are. But then again, though, it could in fact be just one great big giant grift that once again will get them nothing because, as I've said before, once you go woke, you then go broke. You could also argue that you go broke, then go woke, but still, the fact of the matter is that Ryan Clark is pretty obvious is going in a certain direction. But I did say I was going to let that clapback continue that was coming, and of course, there's going to be more of that. So let's go ahead and roll this.
Any rational person that's saying, I'm voting for Trump, how is that comparable to taking a knee during the national anthem and basically saying, hey, America is inherently racist. It's no different now than it was in 1850. And again, like Clark is pretending like, hey, what we say, we're not denigrating America. But you just said that after saying, when was America ever great? So if you're saying it's never been great, you're obviously saying it was bad. And so you're taking a dump on America. LeBron James pretending and tweeting out that, oh, you just can't even go outside without getting shot by the police. That's completely different than someone saying, hey, I'm voting for Trump.
The NBA, speaking of LeBron, which Whitlock brought up right there, the NBA, they're going to have a problem with their talent here soon because the faces of the league are getting old. They don't really have anybody to kind of supplant that. But still, though, the NBA, they've been trying to get away from the social justice warrior stuff for a while, which, of course, will come back over the course of this video because we do have to discuss the NBA in 2020. The truth be told is the sports world, they've been trying to get away from this for the exception of the NFL, who still has the end racism crap in the end of everything. Look. I want to go ahead and say this. I've watched very little NFL this year, okay? I'm an ardent Green Bay Packers fan. I love my team. I love the fact that our new quarterback is working. We love the kid, okay? And, of course, I still keep up with the previous quarterback. And, of course, the situation with the Jets going on was absolutely atrocious. Aaron should get the hell out of there. But still, at the same time, though, I haven't watched as much football as I normally watch. Normally, every Sunday, I'm watching every game regardless what is on. The fact of the matter is I just haven't been interested in watching the NFL this year. But still, though, when I do cut it on, we still see the same SJW nonsense, which, of course, is something that is going to be brought up with the course of the video because ESPN is trying to get away from the political arena, as they should. But like I said, there's a reason why we're bringing up Nick Wright towards the end of this video. But still, let's get to what exactly Clark said. A small edited bit from this 3-minute long post, which I find to be just asinine.
That ran a campaign based in bigotry and based in hate. And for those 4 years, it wasn't great. In 2016, I remember someone sitting in that office calling people that peacefully protested sons of bitches. And then 2020, in his last year, it wasn't about just COVID to me. It was the most divided this country had ever been. And then I would have people tell me, well, he made us forget that 4 black boys and 1 brown boy who didn't commit a crime, he took an ad out for them to receive the death penalty. And even when they were exonerated, he doubled down on it. And what's changed in this campaign? It's still the same sort of bigotry. It's still the same sort of speech. I think now the difficult part is I do understand that not everyone that supports him believes in his rhetoric. Not everyone that supports him thinks bigotry is okay. They've told me that he believes in Christian values. And it said God gave us grace for the salvation of all. For me, I'll give him that grace because I do want salvation for all people. It's going to be forever hard to respect the man.
Okay, so guys, you've seen that, you heard that. Look, if you don't respect the president-elect, I'm not going to get mad at you. It's when you go overboard with the nonsense and you start spitting out bullshit, okay? That's my problem. Believe me, I've dealt with enough left-wingers in my life to know exactly where these people really and truly are. By the way, I'm saying left-wingers, not classical liberals. I just want to go ahead and say that. And Ryan Clark does not strike me as somebody who's actually liberal. He strikes me more as somebody who's just jilted, which he shouldn't be jilted. The guy was a safety. He's got a couple of Super Bowl rings with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He shouldn't be jilted. Of course, I mentioned Aaron Rodgers earlier. He's still jilted about losing that Super Bowl to Green Bay. But still, the point is, Ryan Clark is just a jilted person. There's another person who works at FS1 who's highly jilted, and that person is Greg Jennings. He won't get the hell over his time with Green Bay. Some athletes are like this, and I really and truly don't understand why that's the case. But that is kind of sort of what the left has evolved into. It's just a feminized mess. But I think that Steve Kim the other day made some very good points on this same matter. Steve Kim, of course, being on Jason Whitlock, where he basically said what was really and truly going on with him. Let's watch.
Here's the thing, and it got me thinking. This is really analogous to what has taken place, where it turns out that Kamala Harris paid off a bunch of those people, those celebrities who really cared about saving us from Hitler with a lot of money, that these endorsements were paid for, right? Well, how valid can any statement be when it comes attached to future employment or payment? It's not.
Many of the wokes are just going to see Ryan Clark is bought and paid for. That's the truth about Ryan Clark. But of course, there then comes back to that issue of being bought and paid for and trust. Let's let this next part play out.
See, Ryan Clark made the mistake of thinking, you know what, now that it's over, my side lost, but I'm going to be gracious to his credit. Let me have an olive branch, at least calm this down a little bit and give my honest thoughts. Because the way Ryan Clark lives his life and the money he's making, I don't believe any president, a singular individual can make a negative or positive impact on his life. But here's the problem. He has cultivated an audience, which again, as Thomas Sowell would say, lives with the philosophy of grievance. And then he had to step all the way back and do a 180, which then, here's the issue. I can never believe anything Ryan Clark says now, because I don't know which guy to believe.
Now, I want to go ahead and say this before we get to the last section of this video. Woke is dead. All right, even I know that. I kind of started this channel by going after the wokes, and of course, somehow or other, the YouTube algorithm, they would promote certain bits of content, and then they would undo certain bits of content. There are certain videos out there that I've made that were not exactly part of what the channel's overall message was. It's something that I'm going to be addressing at the very end of the year because, of course, the content on this channel is going to shift. It's not going to really change, but it's going to shift in a completely different direction within the spectrum that I'm here. We're probably going to start talking about films and movies. I'm not entirely sure how we're going to do that yet. And I'm also going to be talking a lot about Hollywood and the crazy crap that goes on there because those videos do very, very well. I do like talking about it. But still, the point is this here. Wokeness is dead. I think everybody sees that woke is dead. So therefore, a lot of companies, especially big-name companies, are going to want to get away from the wokeness. One said company or one said, I wouldn't call it a company. I said it's an extension of another company, but Twitch. We'll be talking about Twitch probably this weekend. They're going to have an issue on their hand with certain streamers who are of the anti-Semitic variety, pro-Hamas variety, and that's going to be a problem for them going forward. But I'll discuss them probably on the weekend or maybe next Monday. The point is this right here. Companies like, say, ESPN, FS1, companies that have got woke political types, they're going to want to get away from the nonsense because guess what? They know that politics is, quite frankly, toxic. I said this in my Veterans Day message. I'm getting pretty daggone tired of discussing politics. I don't think I have it to talk about the rest of my life, especially given the fact that I've been talking here ever since 2011 at the college campuses. And, of course, now it's 13 years later, and quite frankly, it's like my head is about to explode. I'm only covering this stuff right here to give you guys updates before the end of the year because, obviously, As you guys can see, woke is beginning to die. I can even see this. The BS, the lies and crap, they're starting to mount up, but people can kind of see through them. But speaking of that, now you see why ESPN is saying, oh, we're done with this.
That is a good question. I do think if you look at the people that Jimmy Pitaro has hired and the people that he has not re-signed, there is, a move toward the Stephen A's and the McAfees, and a move away from the Levitards and the Bomani Joneses and, the Pablo Torres. And so I don't know if there was like, we want you to talk about politics or not in a specific way, but I think you can sort of see like who they have hired and promoted and given bigger platforms to versus who they haven't. So I don't know if that's the calling card of the network exactly, but certainly through personnel choices, you end up with something that looks like it does today. And is the people that ESPN covers are talking less about politics. And so when you don't have Colin Kaepernick in the news, you talk about that issue less on ESPN. And I think, the flip side of that sort of coverage question, what happens at these networks is you've seen leagues pull back from some of this stuff. I think, the NBA, we're 4 years ago, the NBA was in the bubble with social justice names on the back of their jerseys. And we are so far away from that.
There was more that Steve Kim and Jason Whitlock would go on about. I'll link it in the description box for you guys. That way you guys can see the full bit. I advise you guys do. So the truth is this right here. When sports decided to go woke or decided to go in a political direction, it angered the core audience. The core audience is showing up to watch a football game. The core audience is showing up to watch a basketball game. The core audience, and by the way, I will talk more about the NBA at a later date, the core audience were tired of the wokeness and the nonsense. Now, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for these people to get away from it, and you're going to see a lot of people who the woke cater to get pissed off. But it was never a positive venture for these companies to do this. Look, let me say this real quick. Look at the demographics of the country itself, okay? And I want you to pay very close attention to one particular spot. It's the alphabet community. Yes, I know I'm probably going to get in trouble with this, but the alphabet community. It's only about 4.5% of the population, and the T part of the population is only about 2%. That's who they were catering their audience. That's who they were catering their content to, their message towards. Only 4% of the nation. There's also another section of the nation that's very, very liberal that doesn't watch sports because most leftists don't watch sports. They don't believe in sports. Most leftists don't want to join the military. I said the exact same thing about the United States military and military recruiting, that the woke nonsense, the Emma Malone Lord ads, that type of crap was not going to appeal to those who might want to join. They were going after people who did not want to join. And of course, now look like a great big giant joke as a result of it. And I think that ESPN finally sees the writing on the wall. I mean, I don't know if you guys have noticed it or not, but even Stephen A. Smith has kind of tendered his content the past few days. He had Sean Hannity on the other day. I told you guys a long time ago that him and Hannity had actually been good friends for a very long time. And he had him on, and they're talking about bringing the country together. It seems to me like the bit when Trump was in office the first time has kind of ran its course, and the constant race baiting bull crap that they keep throwing in our faces since is not working out too good. However, there's always going to be 1 to 2 holdouts that are going to continue to try to pump the message, and obviously Ryan Clark is the one who's obviously chosen to pick up that mantle. By the way, Clark looks totally gay in that outfit that he is wearing. He looks like a great big giant joke, like he's on Star Trek or some crap like that, but for the moment in time being, I'll digress. But I did say that there was one more individual that I wanted to talk about, and that right there would be Nick Wright. Nick Wright, or Nick Wrong, once again, Nick Wrong. His election prediction was the exact same as Kyle Kulinski's, and I've already talked about him enough. Nick Wrong is called Nick Wrong for a reason, because he's never really and truly right, and when he does get it right, he normally gets it right for the wrong reasons. Nobody likes Nick Wrong. Nobody with any common sense likes him. But I did want to bring up this bit from Dreamerspro because he did a video on this, which will be linked in the description box. Dreamerspro, by the way, is a pretty good channel. He keeps it for the most part on sports. He talked about this segment that Nick Wright had with Dan Le Batard, another embarrassment. And of course, Nick Wright was basically saying that he wanted to be judged for his politics. He wanted to be judged for his politics, his political takes. So you want to be judged for being Nick wrong. That's right. Yeah, you want to be known as Nick wrong. I mean, my God, you've always been wrong when it comes to the Michael Jordan, LeBron James debate. I mean, what the hell else could you be wrong about? Oh, wait, that's right, every damn thing. Here's the thing. And Dreamerspro brought this up in his channel. Like I said, it'll be linked in the description box. He's got the clip and everything. I ain't got time to listen to Dan Levitard, all right? He talked about the fact that politics was very toxic, that he even tested on his channel politics. And how it was that politics, and this, by the way, is going to be coming up in the video that I have towards the end of the year about the channel change and everything, because I've thought about this a lot, because politics is, in fact, toxic. He talked about how it was that his viewership went up, but his overall subscribers went down. He was trying to say, look, we're losing our core audience. Once you go in a political direction, you lose your core audience. I know this myself because I did this as well. The truth is this here. People like Nick Wright, who they want to make the face of FS1, are only going to bring the company down. All right? It's bad enough they have Colin Cowherd there, who I call Colin Cowturd. Another person who lies constantly, changes his opinions every 2 seconds, changes. And by the way, I'll always remember Colin Cowherd for being that guy who talked shit on an episode when he worked at ESPN about Brock Lesnar and how he could take him in a fight, and then all of a sudden he got punked by Brock Lesnar. That's what I always remember Colin Cowherd for. And also for saying that California was well off and there was no crime. I did a video on that before too. I'll probably link in the description box too, just to be linking it there so that way you guys can see exactly how nuts that person is. ESPN has obviously learned their lesson. They're obviously getting the hell away from the woke nonsense. FS1, on the other hand, we'll just have to wait and see. You guys tell what you think in the comment section. Make sure you guys please hit the like button. Make sure you guys cut the notifications on. Also, please share the video. Please comment. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. The other video that's going to be coming out today is probably going to be on Trump's cabinet part 2, or my thoughts on his cabinet so far. And, of course, I'll probably have a video out tomorrow on the agenda. And I'll probably have a video out on tomorrow, Friday afternoon on what happens to the black identitarians in the Democratic Party. So make sure you guys stick around for all that. Like I said, like button, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys later.